Welcome back to our coverage of the International Wildcard Qualifier. Dark Passage is currently 1 game ahead of Legacy Esports as we head in towards Game 2. We've only got to win 2 more and they're off to Worlds.
Hey, Fabulous said it in the pre-game video. Best of 5s, we like them, we like to 3-0. We'll see if they can. And talking about Fab, he got his hands on Nidalee, went 7, 2, and 9, built an Infinity Edge as his 4th item.
As you do.
As you do when you're ahead. But just really, really good play. There was nothing that Legacy could do to contain him. Despite the fact that he did have moments of weakness, he overcame them and managed to control Legacy. On
the other side, Choo-Choo's picking up the Orianna, had some good moments in that one, but just couldn't roll the ball far enough.
Really could not. And on the side of Choo-Choo's, he actually made Naru's life very difficult in the laning phase. He was very aggressive, was in his face. But the problem is, he was playing Orianna, was looking for team fights, and his team were never able to get in Dark Passage's face. They were very rarely looking for those multi-man shockwaves. So, you know, I think DeFisher said it quite well. If you're going to go for a team fight-oriented comp and you fall behind early, you need to take steps to prevent that happening.
So, looking towards Game 2 then, is Nidalee now going to appear in the ban list?
I think it has to be a consideration for Legacy. If they're not going to be first picking that champion, I think they would be taking it off the table. They do have the benefit of being on the blue side this time around. So in theory, if they don't ban Kassadin, it means they may be able to get their hands on one of the other priority picks. I mean, Maokai's still up there. They've banned Tristana away a couple of times. We'll see if maybe they want to get their hands on Tristana. Definitely seems to be the sort of go-to AD carry. And you just have to remember the likes of the Maokai, the likes of the Lee Sin, the likes of the Elise, all these preferential picks for Legacy.
Yeah, they seem to be getting onto their comfort picks as well. Crystal M, once again, not scared to dive in there to flash behind people and get the kicks back into the team, as Cardred found out a couple of times during that game. But let's have a look then down the bans as we head into Champion Select for game number 2. And Legacy this time will once again ban Tristana, but they decide that Nidalee is of importance to Fabulous and get rid of that. So
Maokai is still available, and it is a champion that is first pick worthy. What are the last 2 bans going to be? Choo-Choo's has played Kassadin in the past. He played it during the Oceanic Finals in game 1 of the series. And if Dark Passage don't ban him for the 3rd and final pick, they may even want to go that route. But the risk is then, do they ban Maokai and hope to get Kassadin? What do they leave up? Because both of those champions are up and available. Only one of them can get banned. Maybe I'm tunnel visioning, but we'll see.
Oh, I think you're perfectly right on that one. You ban Kassadin, it leaves Maokai, and exactly the same the other way around. So far, it's Zilean and Alistair for Dark Passage. Now they're left with the choice. Do they ban the tree? Or do they get rid of Kassadin here? Choo-Choo's has played it. We also have to say that Naru has played it. And actually, they go for neither. They leave them both up by taking away Rengar, which means they are going to give away Kassadin, but get the Maokai.
Has to be. So the 2 power picks left up. Now, this is the advantage of being on the red side. When you are, when you do have 2 first picks in your first round, you can leave more OPs up and available, and that allows you to lock them in. A lot for Legacy will hinge on this Kassadin pick, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them running the likes of Annalise, the likes of an Irelia again, because of the power and the potential to just jump on single targets. They do need to be very wary of containing Fabulous, because obviously, if that tree gets ahead, there's no Lumberjack in the world that can take him down.
Except maybe Braum, because he's got a big manly mustache, but he's going to be picked as well, and he's going to be on their side. Touch once again will get his hands on that champion. Of course, last game was over with EG moves. Alistair once again banned away from him. And rightly so, I think, because EG's performance over these last couple of days with Alistair has definitely been ban-worthy.
I completely agree. And for Legacy, maybe an AD carry pick. They've got their mid laner, they've done this blind. Orianna's still up and available if Naru wants to go that route, and you'd have a very good team fight comp from Dark Passage already. Kog'Maw, Jinx, possibilities, really taking their time. The fact that Kassadin and Maokai were both up and available has, I think, thrown this entire pick and ban phase out of whack. And they have to go back to the drawing board to determine what are their priorities, what are they looking to build.
Well, we are going to be seeing Shyvana come up here for Minky Whale in that top lane. scary champion in the right hands, and Minky Whale may just be those hands.
Yeah, very, very big champion. Minky Whale used Shyvana to win Game 5 against Team Immunity back at home, and shout out to Atlas for the great call. He is a huge dragon, and he's going to need to become a huge dragon again. With the Morgana, with the Shyvana, you've got those diving champions that can, with the Cassidy and the Shyvana, you've got those diving champions that can get to the back line, that can get to Dark Passage's squishies, whoever they're going to be. And with Zed being locked in against Cassidy, it's going to be that assassin versus assassin matchup. And I'm not entirely convinced Zed works these days, because he does have a time limit on his usefulness. Once people get those hourglasses or get those QSSs, it did not work for Choo-Choos yesterday against Dark Passage. Let's see if Naru can make it work against Legacy.
Also going to be picking up Nunu, so a shift in Nunu choices. Obviously last game was with Carbon for Legacy. Was pretty effective, you know, those slows, Nunu and Braum together make it very, very hard to actually escape from anything. We'll see how Crystal M does with it this time around. But for Legacy now, looking to finish off their comp, looking for the jungler and the AD carry. Obviously, Lee Sin was taken away by Legacy, so that one not on the board. Rengar was banned away by Dark Passage as well.
I'm somewhat confused by the Zed pick when you consider there's a Maokai and a Nunu in there. And the reasoning is Zed is really about blowing somebody up. When you've got Maokai, Braum, Nunu, you're looking for extended team fights. You're looking for fights to go on a while, and Zed, he kind of unleashes everything. And if somebody dies, great. Yes, he does have fairly low cooldowns, but he's not the type of champion you want stuck in the middle of a fight, continually, you know, landing auto attacks, if I can put it that way. So a little bit of a mix and match here from Dark Passage. What it does allow is if Naru gets ahead, he can obviously split push, which will work in his favor. But we need to see how the rest of this AD carry lock-in happens, because Dark Passage, they need constant damage over time to complement 3 of their 5 champions.
So final lock-in here then was in fact Jinx, and Dark Passage yesterday in their win against Legacy used Jinx to great effect, just shredding through those towers early on, was able to close that game out pretty quickly, and with the added Nunu in there as well for the Blood Boil, well, it's the same combo as we saw last game. You've got to be in a position to utilize it in the first place. And
for the Nunu, as well as the rest of Dark Passage team composition, they're going to be very much focused around containing and protecting Holy Phoenix in team fights, letting Naru do his own thing, looking for kills, either trying to blow up Cardred or Choo-Choos, and then relying on that get excited from Holy Phoenix to run down whoever's left from Legacy. The only risk is, of course, that Repel can get you to the backline easily. Dragon's Descent can get you to the backline relatively easily, and you're going to have a Cassidy that can Riftwalk multiple times as well. So it's going to be abilities that Legacy can make use of to deal with the AoE crowd control on the side of Dark Passage. I still feel the Zed pick is the question mark. I don't really think it fits into the style of Dark Passage's team comp, but Naru might prove me wrong.
Well, you've got the ability to get away from those chasing players on the Dark Passage side. I mean, the fact is that you're going to have a Dark Binding Cocoon that can lock 2 people up if they play their cards right. Cassidy, Corki, Shyvana can all just jump straight away from it if they need to actually get out of that bad situation. So going to be hard here, I think, for Dark Passage.
I think so too. They do have a lot of innate tankiness, which does play into their favor.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Legacy handle the early game to overcome their opponent's natural tankiness.
So let's find out then. The scoreline currently stands 1-0 in favor of Dark Passage, but we are going to be getting into game number 2 as Legacy move over onto the blue side. And they got their hands on Cassidy. Cost them a Maokai on the other side though. And you have to kind of look at those 2 picks and say which is going to be the strongest.
I completely agree. And I think the next question is which AD carry is going to be more relevant. You know, Cardred's going to hit that mid-game power spike. He's going to be able to poke very effectively with his rockets. But he will eventually be outscaled by Jinx. And it's just something they've got to be careful of. We'll touch that in a second because Egypt has not seen Dark Passage. Dark Passage, if they can catch him out maybe with a Twisted Advance or a Brown Stun, that could be first blood. They're going in, Joe.
Well, it's going to be, I'm afraid, somewhat anticlimactic there as Egypt just walks away from it. They weren't able to get in there quick enough to lock him down, and he walks off. However, Dark Passage have got in there, and they're going to be checking out this bottom side of the map. There was a ward put down, so they can see early on if these lane swaps are going to happen.
And I think it's very important. Dark Passage are doing what Legacy did not. If you look at Dark Passage's comp, it is quite reminiscent of the team fight focus that Legacy had in the previous game. So as long as Dark Passage do not fall behind, they can make the right decisions to allow their team to work very effectively around the 4 or 5 members. On Legacy's side, you're a little more focused in finding picks. You want a Dark Binding or a Cocoon to land, and you want Cassidy and Elise and Corki to try blow him up as quickly as possible, and then allow Minky Whale to be that huge disruptive dragon. So for Legacy, when we eventually get to these roaming mid-game stages, they're going to be looking to insta-give somebody, and if they don't, the longer the team fight goes, the better it's going to be for Dark Passage, because their comp will just thrive more and more and more.
So, red buff start here for Crystal M. Taken down to about half HP and then gets it all back thanks to that consume. Bottom lane, in the meantime, that started off well here for Dark Passage. Let's not forget the last game. Holy Phoenix out-farmed Codrid by a heavy amount. See if we can do the same here with Jinx, Choo-Choos, and Naru in the mid lane. As was last game where they went very even, seems to be a similar scenario here.
Yeah, and you know, Naru's obviously going to take more poke from Choo-Choos purely because of that Null Sphere, but they CS it evenly enough. And the kill threat will actually be very high once both of those champions have access to their ultimates. I want to see what Choo-Choos itemizes, because, you know, since Kassadin sort of changes and rework, we've seen a couple of variations. We've seen tanky Kassadin, we've seen, you know, Iceborne Gauntlet, we've seen full AP. There are multiple ways of building him. And against a Zed and a Jinx, it wouldn't be unheard of to go for that Frozen Fist. You know, it gives you the armor, gives you the zone control. It actually gives you CC to play with, and you can just continually chase with that little AoE slow.
Bottom lane, once again, as we look down there, continues to go well for Dark Passage, and going aggressive there. However, they planned the binding there on towards Touch, and that means that he takes quite the damage. But Holy Phoenix playing it aggressive, going in. Good damage back on towards Egypt, and it's a bit of a tug of war down bottom. They're going in and out. That binding did, in fact, miss, though. So he moves back over to the mid lane where Choo-Choos continues to pressure Naru.
But notice how Holy Phoenix and Touch, with the same dual lane combo that Legacy had in the previous game, are playing more aggressively. I feel when you've got Jinx and Braum, you have to be more aggro, more in the face of your opponents if you want to get lane dominance. Choo-Choos, he's thinking about it. He's got Ignite. Oh,
that is a lot of damage. Ignite goes down. They both flash at the same time there, and Ignite's not enough to take away, but it does force Naru to back off, giving Choo-Choos a lot of free time to farm.
Yeah, and there's going to be some damage put down into that mid tower. No flashes available for either of those very slippery mid lane champions. And again, Choo-Choos is actually beating Naru in the 1v1. Second game in a row in the laning phase, where he is the one coming out victorious, and we touched on his mechanical prowess. Ejim and Codrid, they're looking for Touch. They've caught him.
Oh, they have caught him there with the binding. Puts up the Unbreakable. The Chomper's not going to be effective because of that Black Shield. And in the end, Touch able to just dash back away, get on towards Holy Phoenix. Didn't use any summoner spells. And Carbon is now coming down bottom. Touch, is he going to be able to escape? He is, just a split second too late on the binding.
I think Ejim needed to have opened with the Tormented Soil. It was no travel time. He may have been able to interrupt the recall. But Dark Passage go all the way back to the initial invade. They got the information they wanted regarding the lanes, and they still opted into the straight-up lanes. Holy Phoenix and Touch, despite playing aggressively, they're holding even on CS, but you have to feel they're losing those trades with Codrid and Ejim. Obviously, because of the fact they've been forced to recall first and move away. Now remember, no flash on Choo-Choos. We'll see if we can get away.
Oh, going to be a problem for him here. The Ignite does go down, and surely he's going to die. One more hit will do it, and Crystal M goes in. Simple auto attack to get the kill.
Choo-Choos just unfortunate to get caught out of position. I mean, no Riftwalk, no flash. It was actually fairly simple there for Crystal M and Naru. Carbon, he's looking for Naru.
Not going to find him though. Repel brings him up in the air, and Naru just steps back off into the brush. Comes back into even try and do a bit more damage before he ends up going home. Came in with a Vamp Scepter, so went for that lane sustain. And now it's Minky Whale that could be in some problems on this top side. Fabulous actually going pretty low, but Minky Whale, he does have that flash available, and he's not even going to bother to use it. Goes down, Crystal M gets another one.
Yeah, very, very well played. Crystal M making much better use of the Nunu than the previous game. Flash, Cocoon, missed.
Dodged by Naru, give him that credit there. He just stepped back towards them, which in itself could have been dangerous, but able to just walk away. Did lose quite a lot of health, but nonetheless didn't go down. The important thing of that is Cardred here trying to get in. Holy Phoenix going to get hit by the binding. Can they finish off the kill? He's been exhausted up as well, but look at the turnaround. Cardred going low. There's the slow. Touch needs a couple more auto attacks to finish it off. Has he got the damage? A good binding comes in. Touch has got a flash, but they decide against using it, and now Carbon there as well. Touch is going to be forced to walk away. As I said, flash still available, and this bottom lane, as I mentioned before, just the tug of war constantly in the damage trades.
Yeah, very, very aggressive in the laning phase. And is that another flash? Actually, yes, it was.
Yeah.
Holy Phoenix to get away from the skill shot. 2-0 in favor of Dark Passage, thanks to Crystal M's very effective ganks. But in terms of CS, it is still very even across the board. So Legacy, once again, falling behind in the early trades. In the previous matchup, we really didn't see that Nunu having anywhere near the same level of impact during the laning phase. And I think Legacy have got to be a bit more wary. They're just overextending somewhat carelessly. And Minky Well's been jumped on by a tree.
Actually, he has to use his ultimate there to get away. Didn't want to use the flash, of course. That will leave him having to recall. Does have TP, so we'll see if he actually uses that to come instantly back into lane. Went for the Vamp Scepter first to get that sustain. And now that Naru hit that level 6 mark there, they got that kill on towards Choo-Choo's. Got himself the death mark. Will he go diving here? Choo-Choo's needs to be really careful. There is the death mark coming down. Naru is going to be able to pick up the kill, but he might fall for it as well. Carbon coming away, dashes off to the shadows. Nunu coming around to cover, and that's the danger. Zed hits level 6 and just dives straight underneath the turret.
And that is a testament, thanks to the fact that Choo-Choo's died earlier. Because he gave up first blood, he was behind in experience and he got punished. Now Touch eats another Dark Binding.
Good block in there, actually going to dive forward towards Cardred, switches target on towards Ejim. Both of them could get stunned up with one more auto attack. It's Cardred that actually loses it. Binding comes down, Touch surely going to fall here, and he is finished off by Cardred, and that will be the first kill of the game here for Legacy.
Yeah, we do see Touch and Holy Phoenix just going a tad over-aggressive. You don't usually focus the support, but when you're in full retreat, it's the only target being presented. I think Legacy made the best of that situation. The kill landing in Cardred's hands is very important because he needs to hit that power spike before Holy Phoenix. He wants to get the Trinity Force, and he wants to start punishing Jinx because she will take a longer time to scale up, especially because Holy Phoenix started with a pickaxe. Anyways, Cardred and Ejim, they're about to get caught by an absolute zero.
It's going to do full damage here towards Ejim. The zap will land as well. He's in so much trouble. He's going to get the ulti proc off on towards Crystal M, but Holy Phoenix is going to finish off. Does get the excitement going, but the binding landed just before he died. And that will mean there's no chase onto his AD carry, but scary times. Jinx now getting the kill as well, and an assist on towards Crystal M, who's come out so strong with this Nunu. They're going for a dragon.
Yeah, Crystal M definitely showing a better understanding of how to handle Nunu. His ganks have been great, and every single lane that Legacy has been overextended in, they've been punished for. Dark Passage have got 4 kills, they've got the first dragon of the game, they've built themselves up a 3,000 gold lead, and we're not even 10 minutes into this matchup. Despite the fact that Legacy have been playing fairly aggressively in this duo lane, it has only accrued to 1 kill, and that kill was because Dark Passage were the ones that were playing overly aggressive themselves.
Jim now trying to hold on to this tower. Pink Ward's going to be taken away, and it's like Legacy just going to check there around the dragon. Actually, Dark Passage needs to be really careful here about this one because there's 2 men coming down bottom. They need to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Touch not level 6 yet, so doesn't have his ultimate available to actually use that for defensive purposes. They might both go down here. Damage coming from Corki. Holy Phoenix is going to fall first. Binding doesn't quite have the distance to lock up Touch, but it's still a kill.
So they managed to take down Holy Phoenix. Minky Wells get jumped on by Fab.
Oh, this is real bad news for him. Actually, we'll use the flash there to go back. And Fabulous just bullying this top lane. Only got that Catalyst, the Protector. Obviously up at level 9 by now. Got a CS lead, got that advantage. from the assist earlier on as well. Minky Whale having problems.
Deathmark and Ignite available for Naru. He's going in.
Yeah, he's going in, and Choo-Choo's is not coming out, I'm afraid. There he goes, back to the shadow. The splat comes down, and Naru gets his second.
And he steals the blue buff from Choo-Choo's as well. 1v1, while Choo-Choo's was winning up until level 3. Since then, Naru has had Choo-Choo's number. He's picked the right fights, he's engaged correctly, and very, very good mechanical play from Naru. It feels like he had something to prove from the previous game. Dark Passage are just growing this lead even more. Despite the fact that Holy Phoenix died in the bottom lane, because Zed is getting so big and because Fab has got a sizable lead, you just feel like once team fights break out, Holy Phoenix will have all the time he needs because of how well the rest of his team is doing.
Look at the 35 CS difference in that mid lane as well. Those 3 deaths that Choo-Choo's has accrued up until now means that he's really struggling on the farm. Holy Phoenix going pretty aggressive on this one, and why not? Crystal M actually coming in. There is the ultimate used by Crystal M. Didn't get much of a channel off, and Egypt trying to push this one back, and why not? Elise and Kazakhs are both coming down. There's the TP though from the top lane. They may try and push this one back. Fabulous not quite in range to actually dive in on that one. Kassadin has left his mid lane all alone, and Naru will just use it to kill the tower.
So first tower secured by Dark Passage. If they stay grouped up, they can take a second in a moment or two. Jinx plus Nunu equals dead tower. We do see Minky Well going in the top lane. He does not have any armor, and Naru is coming up behind him. Does not have Deathmark available, so we'll see if he's going to look for any sorts of kills. While all that's going on, Touch is now scored just a little bit up, but he's got his ulti up.
Bit of a face check, but they do get the ulti on towards Cardred. Exhaust goes on to Holy Phoenix. I don't think they can chase in for a kill this time around, and actually Elise is coming down, so Dark Passage needs to start backing away from this. Elise does go in, but Carbon might take too much damage here at the start. There is Touch taking the Dark Binding to lock him up. Will dash away towards Holy Phoenix. The return is good here, but Touch is surely going to go down. Lasted a lot longer than he actually should have, and that will be a double kill for Cardred. He falls though straight away afterwards. Meanwhile, Minky Whale is not quite dead. I don't know how he quite survived that one.
For a second as well. Hopefully we can get a replay of that, but we did see Naru eventually going in on Minky Well in the bottom lane. Holy Phoenix and Touch had been playing overly aggressive. They gave up a kill, the first kill they gave up their first death to Legacy by overextending and being caught out. They got punished earlier, and now they're doing it again. Minky Well's got no teleport. Crystal M, I think he might be able to just pick this up.
Oh, not quite finishing off there. Another snowball would have done it.
Weird.
That's Fabulous now gets his ultimate running as well, and Minky Whale going to try and run for his life. Can't get away from the tree though. Pounds down, and Fabulous picks up his first kill of this game too. Choo-Choo's and Egypt started to come up, but nothing available.
Dark Passage definitely applying themselves the 3rd time's the charm theory. Naru went in, couldn't do it. Crystal M went in, couldn't do it, and it was Fab that eventually got the 7th kill of the game for Dark Passage. They built up a 4,500 gold lead, and Cardred is getting very close to having that Trinity Force completed. He's a couple hundred gold away. But Holy Phoenix, BF Sword, Zeal, Pickaxe, and 2 kills. He's becoming scary already. I just think for Legacy, they need to find ways to get Choo-Choo's back in the game, find some picks for this Kassadin, and they need to get him snowballing.
All that CS difference for Naru as well means that he's now got a pickaxe on top of the Cutlass and that Brutalizer, trying to keep them now away from this mid lane. Zap actually misses there, which could have possibly been the death there of Cardred. They're going very deep here though, and Egypt decides he's going to push around, get his ultimate going. That's going to land on towards Touch. What can Crystal do here? Binding means that he can't keep chasing, as Holy Phoenix almost going down to Choo-Choo's. They should be able to follow on from this.
Yeah, there is a flash and Dark Binding in a second for Egypt. We'll see what he can connect with.
Oh, wow. Well, the Binding is enough there to actually finish off the kill for Egypt. And no summoner spells available meant the easy kill onto Holy Phoenix. And Dark Passage once again are going to be forced to back away. Deathmark's up here for Naru. Minky Whale has to be careful. He has to back away to give the turret up.
Yeah, Naru's chasing though. Gonna see if he can close the gap. Got a level advantage. And remember, still no armor on Minky Whale, so he would need to jump into that dragon's form to get the additional defensive stats. Naru's doing such a great job on Zed. 25 plus 38, 60 CS lead over Choo-Choo's, and there's that Deathmark.
Oh, going in on this one, can he actually get the kill? The Deathmark might be enough. No, not quite, but the Ignite is ticking, and Naru picks up his 3rd kill. He's just running amok here with that dangerous scenario now for Legacy.
Well, very well played. You know, while the Zed may not fit into the team fight comp that the rest of his team composition is built, he is going to be the split-pushing assassination monster. I was saying, let's see if he can blow up the squishies on the side of Legacy. And he's blowing them to hell and gone. 3-0-1, Blade of the Ruin King completed. If you look at Choo-Choo's build, he's gone for Seeker's Arm Guard into a Glacial Shroud. Fab, can he survive?
It actually looks like he might be able to. They're going to have to go into the power. Look at that damage coming in. Cardred, in the end, does manage to pick up the kill. No one actually pushing with him. But look at this, down in the bottom lane. Nunu plus Jinx equals dead tower.
That's the case. And it'll be the third or fourth of the game. Is this going to connect? So close. Well played, spectators, by the way. That was pretty smooth. Another tower down. Minky Well forced to retreat. All 5 kills for Cardred have come from punishing Dark Passage for overextending and punishing Dark Passage for sort of being in the wrong place. But it's not enough because they're not grouping for the rest of Legacy to get involved. Minky Well is still miles behind his opposite number, and Choo-Choo's is even further. That CS advantage is above 60 at this stage.
Yeah, and you can see the items there from Choo-Choo's causing problems. Let's watch that one again from Fabulous as he almost got away from it.
Yeah, very important to note, he's going to throw down that Vengeful Maelstrom, reduce so much damage from Legacy, and because he's got the Rod of Ages with a little bit of ability power, I mean, he burst so much hit points. If those team fights break out, Fab actually has a damage threat. You know, if Legacy group up and try focus and put that damage down, Fab can throw that. You add an absolute 0 and a couple of spinning slashes from Naru, and there's pentakill material waiting to happen.
Crystal M there getting slowed down, but no follow-up after that one. Definitely had more of an impact than we saw Carbon's Nunu have in that last game. And with really the exact same combo, Dark Passage here basically said, we're just going to pick what you picked last game and show you how you actually play this combo.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, at its core, that's what they've done. You do see Touch eating a cocoon, but look at how little damage he's taking. We'll see if he can get away. Legacy, they're going all in.
Oh, they're going to try and turn this one around. Absolute Zero doesn't do all a lot. Fabulous, though, is going to join the party, going on towards Egypt. Naru coming around as well. Super Mega Death Rocket comes into the backside. Naru gets the kill to put him on a rampage. Can they get any more of them? Slow's going to land onto Carbon. They can't keep following through, though. And so Naru trying to flank around the side. They might just have this turret away. I think the Legacy have to just leave it, yep.
Another turret secured. Dark Passage, despite using a lot of their ultimates and teleports, they find the killer Minky Well, who is the primary front line for Legacy. Look at how they're playing the map. Naru's gone top lane to push the inner turret, while the rest of Dark Passage are keeping Legacy at bay. It's going to secure them their 6th turret of the game, extending that gold lead even further. And Dark Passage have really shown up to play today. They're really objective focused. Despite playing a little over-aggressive at times, it hasn't cost them, it hasn't hurt them, because Legacy have only got 1 tower to their name.
No, threw his shadow out there, but obviously couldn't move to it since he was hit by the binding of Egypt. Not like Choo-Choo's was trying to get involved, but honestly, this Kassadin not really got all that much damage at this point.
No, not really. He's just been terribly shut down. 1v1, Naru just completely outplayed him. It is that simple. It did stem from a gank of Crystal M, yes, of course, but after that, it's all been about Naru. And, you know, if you look at the minimap in terms of warding, Dark Passage is doing a very good job of keeping their vision of this game, especially considering how deep they just went in the invade. And I like talking about the vision game with sort of wildcard and with challenger teams, because you contrast it to LCS teams and, you know, the professional international teams. And in the previous game, Dark Passage actually had worse warding than Legacy. You could attest that to the fact they had complete map control, so they were a little lazy in warding. But, you know, placed 99, Legacy placed 119. That's a pretty big difference. This time around, I do feel they're doing a much better job at the vision game.
And Zed is gonna be split pushing like a bit of a beast now as well. Ghostblade done on top of his Blade of the Ruin King. Carbon actually going to face check, but face checking into the support and the tanky Nunu jungle means that they actually start to back away from this one. The binding doesn't land. Ultimate going to be used, but this entire time Zed is pushing in the bottom. Here comes the rest of the team. Holy Phoenix off to the side. He's going to be picked off here by Minky Whale. Is it all about buying time for Zed to maybe take an inhibitor turret? They're going to keep them fighting as Touch goes down to half HP, but Naru is on the inhibitor turret. It's flash from Touch. Minky Whale trying to stick to him at this point. Carbon is incredibly low, and Touch is still alive here. They're going to get under the tower.
That's a support that they have not been able to kill yet. Legacy, they're not stopping.
And Naru was killed off the inhibitor turret. There is the lock up. Minky Whale tanking the tower this entire time. Crystal Egg going to chase him back, and they're all going super low from this one. Carbon now going to be focused down. Zed is in the base. The inhibitor's going down, and they're picking up kills while they go.
Legacy managed to overextend. They took such a long time to kill Touch. They're going to lose their inhibitor, and they've given up 2 more kills. Crystal M and Fab want to chase. Blood Boiler's down. I don't know if that burnout's going to be quick enough.
Here comes the 3. Twisted advance off to the minion. Sapling will be cancelled out there if it had even... Oh, it does Lances pretty quick at this stage. Still not enough to finish off Minky Whale, but... So once again, Super Mega Death Rocket comes out, just clips Ejim in the face. But Naru, inhibitor down. They were being chased all around the jungle, still managed to pick up a couple of kills on their way through. Could have made it a 3rd. And that leaves Legacy with super minions pouring into their base from the bottom side. And then basically Zed to just push the top side of the map.
Yep, there's nothing on Legacy's side that can contain that Zed. Minky Whale has still not got a lot of armor. He's picked up Ninja Tabai. That's not going to be enough. Carbon's got himself a Giant's Belt and Spirit of the Ancient Golem. If you look at the item differences between these 2 teams, it is massive. There is a 10,000 gold lead in favor of the Turkish squad. And despite Holy Phoenix even being caught out, Legacy are just so far behind. It took them over a minute to just kill a support. Touch on that Braum, his natural tankiness that we talked about, really shining through, really doing a great job. And Legacy, don't overcommit once more. It didn't work out last time.
Dark Passage here, starting to close in. They managed to knock up Carbon. The chompers go down. He's going to come right back on top of them. This is an easy kill. Naru actually manages to get in there to finish things off as Fabulous. Taking damage from Minky Whale, but he'll be happy to keep him there because it'll be a 4 versus 3 in the mid lane. Yeah,
at this point in time, they could even do a tower dive if they wanted to. Fab would need to teleport in. There's the Soul Shackles. Let's see if Legacy can turn anything around.
Well, Naru is the obvious choice here, but look at the damage coming back the other way. And it means that Ejim has to back off, and his ultimate will stop them from going for that turret for now. But will it be able to hold them off completely? They keep pushing onto it, definitely wanting it at this stage. Ejim actually going to go down. It was the Super Mega Death Rocket out of Holy Phoenix that got it. That's surely this turret now.
Yeah, Cardford is doing the best he can to wave clear, but the moment Fab decides to jump on him, he should be instantly taken down. Deathmark is still available from Naru if he wanted to throw that one in. He's got a 100 CS lead over his opponents, and Choo-Choo's has only added an amp tome since the last time we talked about those items. Really not having a good day. 4v1, Cardford's not going to be able to defend. Here comes the support of Carbon and Choo-Choo's.
Tower is surely going to go down with this push. Fabulous actually going in. Turret does go down. Will they want to run away? Absolute Zero is going to be channeled in there as Minky Whale will dive forward. Choo-Choo's looking to clean up from this, but they turn around the pain. Can they finish him? There we go. Let's get excited for Holy Phoenix, and he's actually sticking around here, and here comes Naru from the backside. Ejim going to die to the death mark. Exhaust won't be enough to finish him off, and just like that, Legacy split up in all kinds of different directions. Naru looking for another kill. Minky Whale's recalling. I think Naru's going to leave him. They're going to get a second in him.
They're going to get a second in him. There's super minions going towards the Nexus turrets. They may even decide to keep pushing, but it's low death timers on the side of Legacy. If Legacy were not 10,000 gold down, that team fight would have been very different, but because they fell so incredibly far behind, they didn't have the damage, they didn't have the items they needed to win the fight, despite the fact they actually looked pretty good. You know, it started off well, but unfortunately for Legacy, it just wasn't enough. Crystal M, he's being chased by Choo-Choo's.
Naru turns it around though, and look at the damage there onto Choo-Choo's. Ignite came in as well, and Naru got the kill. Minky Whale's going to try and chase over, but Naru should have the cooldown back. No, Minky Whale gets the shutdown. He won't be able to catch Crystal M though.
They got a Nexus turret, they got another inhibitor. Despite the fact they've given up a couple of kills, it is definitely worth it for Dark Passage. They continue to extend their gold lead. It's up to 14,500 now. And Minky Whale, he's going to get caught out by FabFab. Let's see if that burnout is fast enough. It looks like it should be this time.
Wow. Better safe than sorry, I suppose. Minky Whale using his ultimate there to get away. And let's have a look at that one again. It's the Super Mega Death Rocket into the base to kill Egypt. That was pretty spectacular.
God. That was awesome, because it was even the right angle. I don't think he had the scrying orb either. And we're just going to fast forward to the team fight, I believe. Thank you, spectators. This is the team fight that, you know, it actually shows you that if Legacy are able to focus single targets, you know, they really did try to burn down FabFab, they can kill members of Dark Passage. The only problem is they gave up so much leading up to this team fight, it just simply didn't matter. And the moment they get split up, look at how effective the Zed was able to come in and clear out. Easy, easy Baron. Even more gold, even more advantage. It really is just a matter of time before Dark Passage push into the base. There's only one Nexus turret standing. There's not a lot that Legacy can do to contain them.
So, Choo-Choo's now has got a Sheen added into his build. Still not having the effectiveness that the Kassadin needs to have, that you expect to have when Kassadin comes through. You take it as a first pick. Obviously, stems from much earlier on in the game where he died as soon as Naru hit level 6, then he just snowballed out of control. I mean, that's an 8-1-2-Z. We've already seen the damage that he can do. And now they're split pushing once again. Naru and Fabulous having to go on the inhib, and honestly, Choo-Choo's, he can only go so far. You know, Naru just turns around and he's just going to destroy him. 3 more coming down now towards his bottom, which means top lane has been pushed through. Inhibitor's going to go down. They could just go straight for those Nexus turrets. Cardinal is going to die. Double kill coming out for Naru. They're chasing more here on towards the fountain, but as those Nexus turrets fall, the Nexus itself is going to be focused down, and this is Dark Passage moving on to game point. 1 game away now from going to the World Championships in 2014.
Very well played by the Turkish squad. Absolute control from the opening minutes. And Crystal M, first of all, Crystal M on Nunu getting very low-level ganks in lane was incredibly impressive. I love the way he read the situation and punished Legacy for overextending. Secondly, Naru on Zed. That was fantastic. A calculated pick and ban phase from Dark Passage to leave both Maokai and Kassadin open. Comfortably picked up the Maokai, locked in the Zed in their second round of picks, and managed to actually absolutely decimate Choo-Choo's. Can I help you with that clip there, Joe?
Yeah, it's all right, guys. Don't need to put my cable clip on or anything. There we go. Put it to the back, that'll do it. Yeah, and the worrying thing now is for Legacy, because they already look kind of down and defeated in that game. I mean, if you look at Choo-Choo's, completely different game than we've seen from him throughout this entire international wildcard tournament. 0-7-5, frozen fist by the end, but 100 CS behind his opponent, a multitude of kills as well, and just didn't have the impact. And that's what the question that we're asking, Maokai or Kassadin as a first pick. So obviously, if you don't take it as a first pick, it's going into the second round of picks for the opposite team, but you have to say that Maokai was the stronger option here.
I agree with you, and I also think that Dark Passage were very, very intelligent. I love the fact that they let that Kassadin through, because Naru very clearly was comfortable in the matchup. Very, very clearly, because he dominated Choo-Choo's from the moment he had that small advantage. And I also like the Zed pick, because we've seen Choo-Choo's play Zed. He played it against Dark Passage. So what it does is it starts planting seeds in your mind. If he can do that, I can do that. And if Dark Passage are able to sort of mind game their opponents, present something that might bait a Zed pick, and then play around that, you know, pick a jungler that can punish or something along those lines, all of a sudden the psychological advantage is lying with Dark Passage, because they can open themselves up to some opportunities and say, come on, pick Zed and we'll beat you at, you know, your own game.
And that's the worrying thing now for Legacy. They have to win 3 games in a row to go to Worlds, and Dark Passage have looked pretty faultless for these final 2. We'll find out as we go into game 3, but for now we're going to head over to the analyst desk for a closer look at that game.
Thank you very much, Joe. Yeah, Dark Passage steamrolling here again. Fantastic win for them once again. 2-0 up. They can take the series and the spot for Worlds in the next game. And, well, let's look at pick and bans. And from the side of Legacy, kind of a dilemma. What are we going to go for? The Kassadin is open. It's almost impossible not to pick him, but then you don't pick Maokai.
It was a tricky dilemma, honestly. You know, at the time, Trevor was saying, it's like, oh, they're both available. Which one are they going to ban? And they went, we're going to ban Rengar, give you the option. And it was a very clever choice. Kassadin, of course, has been so dominant over the last year that it's kind of ingrained in everyone's head. I must pick Kassadin if it's open. But clearly, Maokai seems to be the better choice right now, certainly on 4.13. We'll see what it's like with 4.14 when we get to it. But right now, it was an interesting choice. We were interested to see how it was going to go, but again, another strong pick.
Yeah, and also the issue for Legacy is they already have hard time winning the lanes. And Kassadin, while he's a fine laner now compared to before, he's not exactly a guy who just goes in and destroys his lane. And once he played Kassadin against the Zed, the matchup, it is very, very risky to play against the Zed, because if you make one misplay in the early game, he will be able to kill you. And the misplay we saw from D2G2 was basically where he flashed forward at level 4 to try and finish Nauru on the Zed. It didn't work, he didn't kill him. Instead, he didn't have a flash. Nunu came in, killed him. He fell behind. He was level 5 once Nauru hit level 6. And from there on, there's nothing you can do, because he's going to dive, he's going to kill you, and it just completely snowballs. So it was actually misplaced in the mid lane from the Kassadin. If he just had sat back and farmed, he was even in farm, he was doing fine. Got up to level 6, at the same time as Nauru, he would have been okay in the lane. He wouldn't have died, he wouldn't have snowballed it.
And that's actually something we saw. I mean, he died twice while his flash was down as well. We saw the same thing down the bottom as well. You know, they used the flashes, went aggressive, and then got caught out, and they're just using those flashes a little over-aggressive. You know, we heard them talking about yesterday, you know, catching people out, the aggression's working. Well, right now, Dark Passage are well aware of that aggression and using it against them.
Yeah, and Dark Passage really punishing those individual moments. It's the same we saw with Nidalee getting the first kill in game 1 and then being able to just put pressure on it. This time it was the Zed roaming very early on, just making everyone's lives hell. Is this can this be attributed to a slight difference in individual skill between the two teams that seems to pay out for Dark Passage?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that, again, laning phase, individual skill against each other is in favor of Dark Passage. Also, one of the reasons they keep deep warding at level 1, they keep getting their standard lanes. Even though in the bottom lane they didn't have a winning matchup, yet they forced the 2v2 just because they want to have standard lanes all around so they can beat Legacy that way and don't have to deal with a lane swap, don't have to deal with, okay, are they going to take some towers, are they going to get an advantage? So I like the way Dark Passage looks at the game and say, we are stronger in the laning phase, we get standard lanes no matter what picks we have. And of course, whenever there's just a small mistake from Legacy, it gets punished and Nauru carries the game.
So they can close it out here in the next game. If you realize that as Legacy maybe as well, we are going to have trouble in that laning phase. Is there anything you can do to pull it back in your favor?
Well, I mean, the problem for me is right now, we've seen Dark Passage playing multiple different team comps. They are quite comfortable to go poke comp, 1-3-1 splits, team comps with Zeds off the side, you know, doing what he can and basically killing everything and clearing all the base out. So for me, there isn't much of a weakness for Dark Passage, and that's a problem for Legacy, because obviously the game that they did win, they came back from 5,000 gold down because they lost the lane phase again. It's a problem. In that game, they got themselves a great team comp. They need to somehow come out on top in picks and bans this time around.
Yeah, so I would pick very strong laners all around. I wouldn't actually ban Kassadin, even though Dark Passage has shown they can survive the early game and do well in the early game and then potentially snowball it. I would actually leave it open, try and punish it with a counter pick or with a strong lane matchup instead, and then pretty much have the setup they had in game 1 just against the Kassadin, because when you have like Jinx, when you have a Nunu and Orianna as well in the mid lane, the laning phase, just outside of the laning phase, in the mid game, you can push down towers so easily. Kassadin has no wave clear unless he jumps into the wave and then you kill him, which means you can punish the mid lane pick, and as long as you, again, don't fall too far behind in the laning phase, you can start taking down these towers, get objectives, get some gold, and I would try to do it. Otherwise, we might see them take the more defensive approach, which I don't think they will play because they like to fight.
Yeah.
But you can pick like full wave clear, full late game scaling, and just sit back at your towers and just wave clear for days and try and like outlast Dark Passage like they tried to do in game 1. They were just way too far behind.
Yeah, let's see what of a plan they come up with here. And well, at the start of the show, we asked you to tell us which player do you think will make the biggest impact in the International Wildcard Final and why. And here's what you had to say. The first one is from @AlisL. I think Ejim will make the biggest impact in today's games. 3-man head but pulverizes again. Well, he's been forced on some other champions today, and I think it's safe to say he is still playing well.
He is playing well, but there's a big difference from when he's playing Alistar to when he's playing the more defensive supports. We can clearly see he wants to be the guy to engage. The team follow his calls when he goes in for team fights. And now when he's playing like Morgana, he can't do it unless he like lands every single binding before team fight, which normally doesn't happen. So he doesn't have the same impact as on the Alistar. Once again, well done by Dark Passage to realize Alistar was a problem, ban it, don't risk playing against it.
Second one is from @China Richard. It is going to be Dark Passage's marksman player, Holy Phoenix. His aggressive plays are truly game-changing. Hashtag 22 kills. Yeah, it's very impressive to watch him play.
But the thing is, it's actually not been him that's been carrying this one. You know, it's as a team they are. But yes, you can't deny yesterday, you know, game one, it was a bit of a letdown. I think he was like 0-2-7. And we're like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on. Is this a thing? And then he went and got 22 kills. So it's like, okay, this guy's legit. But yeah, he has been fantastic. There's a reason that Tristan is banned every time. It's because of him.
Good point. The last one is from @DClementines. Choo-Choos has shown exceptional mid lane play in every game yesterday. He could carry Legacy to Worlds. Now, we've gotten a lot of tweets about Choo-Choos. He can do it, but this doesn't seem to be his day. It doesn't seem to be his matchup.
No, and again, the Kassadin, he did fine in the start, but then he got over-aggressive. Again, he wanted to get a kill. He flashed forward, lost it, died in the mid lane, fell behind, and then there was nothing he could do. So he's definitely a good player.
He flashed in and didn't have his queue up. So he just flashed in and went, oops, I can't do anything.
Yeah, so
just stood there.
He's really shown some great mechanics. I would actually love to see him play Zed. If we get a first pick Kassadin from Dark Passage, could be the way to win the game here for Legacy, because he showed yesterday some fantastic mechanics on it. But he needs to make sure he's getting out of the laning phase. He has the same issue the rest of the team has. Early on in the lane, they're not very strong.
Yeah, exactly. In the interview as well here with the two guys, I asked them, is there one of your teammates who really wants to carry? And said, yeah, Choo-Choos. He just always jumps in. Well, maybe jump in a little less and we'll see what they can do. Well, thank you for those answers. And remember, you can tweet to @LOL Esports throughout today's matches. Stay socially involved. Now, our caster spells are on cooldown, but we'll be right back as Dark Passage and Legacy Esports gear up for Game 3.
Towards Holy Phoenix, the return is good here, but Touch is surely going to go down. He's actually sticking around here, and here comes Naru from the backside. Egypt going to die to the death mark. Inhibitor's going to go down. They could just go straight for those Nexus. Sorry, Cartman is going to die. Double kill coming up for Naru.